though winter will make a bit of a comeback in early April. It's late enough in the season to sum up in general what the winter was like in terms of snow. Here's a look at snowfall so far as a percent of the long-term average, courtesy of the Midwestern Climate Center. Areas in red got less than 25% of their average, orange is 25 to 50%, yellow 50 to 75, and light green 75 to 100, which would be average. I'll mark that break-even line in black. All areas south of that line had above average snow for the winter. The blue is 1.5 times average. So most of Pennsylvania was well below average, but a small portion of the southeast was well above. Now here's the actual snowfall amounts for a few places. In blue, the seasonal average is in red, all rounded to the nearest inch. Most striking to me are the measly amounts from northeastern into central Pennsylvania. In fact, if these numbers hold, and that's still an if, 16 inches would be the least snowy winter on record in State College, and the half a foot in Williamsport would be the least snowy since 1945 and probably the late 1800s. Here's a wider view of the percent of average snow for the winter. I put the 100% line again on here in black. So all of Virginia and Delaware and most of Maryland had above average snow, including the cities of Washington, Baltimore, and Richmond. What's interesting is that this zone of above average snow is almost entirely because of one storm. In fact, in these areas, this winter reminded me of musical artists such as Wild Cherry and Vanilla Ice, singers who only had one big hit. Play that funky music and Ice Ice Baby in case you're wondering. And this winter was similarly a one-hit wonder for many places. For example, here's the winter snow for New York City, Philadelphia, Harrisburg, Baltimore, and Richmond. Now, here's the percent of that amount due to the one big storm back in January. Mostly, it's more than 80%. You take away that storm, these places would have just 5 to 7 inches of snow this winter. This is a great example of how tough it is to make seasonal forecasts of winter snowfall, given that one storm can make a huge difference. Coincidentally, in central Pennsylvania, even March 30th is not too late for a big snowstorm. In fact, the biggest on record in State College was wrapping up on this date in 1942. Called the Palm Sunday snowstorm, it didn't look that impressive on the weather map, but here's what fell in Pennsylvania. 31 inches in State College, 32 in Lewistown, 2 feet or more in Huntington, Chambersburg, and Gettysburg, at least a foot in York, Carlisle, Bedford, and Clearfield. Extreme eastern and western parts of the state got very little. Most of this snow melted within 5 days. Though that storm was certainly fluky, it was by no means one of a kind. In fact, the 3 biggest snowstorms on record in State College all occurred in Marissa is back next with the extended forecast.